Everything that I'm going to tell you is going to be things that I definitely should be telling to a therapist, but for some fucking reason, I like to share my life on the internet more than anything in the world, and I think it will help me more than talking to a therapist. Hey girls! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're doing something new and exciting today. We're starting a new series, and I will tell you why, but it's like a whole story, so we're just going to preface this by saying we have some stuff we need to talk about, and this is where we're going to do it. If somehow you stumble upon this video and you literally have no idea who I am, hi, I'm Ashley, I'm 26, and just a few weeks ago, I moved from San Francisco to Seattle to live with my parents because I lost my job, and I'm literally going through a midlife crisis, and this is how I'm dealing with it. What really sparked this for me was just the other day I came back from my friend's wedding. Best friend Sarah, I've known her since I was literally 15 years old. My group of high school friends is like my closest group of friends in the world, and she is a part of that. Just came back from her wedding. So much fun, love her to death, so excited, so happy. I had actually had a mental breakdown on the plane home because I was like, hey, my life is falling apart. What the fuck actually is going on in my life right now? So we need to get into that a little bit. I wrote out a list of things, so if you see me looking over here, that's why. I feel like I just need to kind of have a train of thought. Otherwise, we're gonna go on and on forever. Let's maybe crack a little beverage, aka Diet Coke. Delicious. Let me give you like a really brief of my whole life. I was born in the Bay Area. When I was 13, we moved to Bend, Oregon to live with my grandparents. And then I was in Bend until I graduated high school. So I lived there for about 6 years. After that, I went back to the Bay Area for college. I went to St. Mary's. Go Gales. What do you guys know about that? I got my master's at St. Mary's as well. I lived in Walnut Creek for a little bit, and then I moved to San Francisco like 2 years ago. In April of this year, I lost my job. Thought I was gonna get another one and didn't. It was always kind of a possibility that I was like, well, if I don't get another job, I'll just move in with my parents. But I never really thought that that was gonna be like a reality. So although I had been thinking about it for a long time, like it obviously was quite an adjustment, if you will. I was interviewing for places like up until the last minute because I didn't want to move here. Because my mom and her boyfriend moved here while I was in college. And so I've just never lived in Washington before. And so I don't have any friends here. I don't really know the area. Nothing against my parents. That's just why I didn't want to move here. And also because I don't want to live with my parents at 26. That's pretty much where we are right now. I feel like we need to get into why I'm having a mental breakdown over it. I think I might need, I'm not kidding, a shot for this. Like I said the other day, I literally was having a mental breakdown on the plane, but in case you also don't know me for some reason and you're finding this video randomly, majority of my social media life is on TikTok, and anytime I post about being unemployed or living with my parents, people are just find it so relatable because it's not really something people talk about even when it happens to them, because I mean, a lot of what we see on social media is a highlight reel of people's lives. I wasn't going to stop posting on social media just because this was happening to me, but at the same time, there wasn't really any highlights to be posting about. This is what my life is now. And a lot of people found it relatable. And so I really wanted to just have another space where I could talk about that, especially because, like I said, I just have a lot to say. And I feel like we can get a little bit more down into the nitty gritty here than on TikTok. Like I said, lately I've just been feeling like everybody has their life together. I literally lost my job, moved in with my parents in a state I've never lived in, a city I've never lived in. Don't have anything going on for me really at the moment. I am so grateful that I am able to come live here with them, and that they have invited me to live in their home, and that I have a good enough relationship with them that I can come and do this. It's just me really getting my feelings out about everything. And once again, it's hey, maybe talk to a fucking therapist and not the internet, but hey, it wouldn't be me if I did that. Since moving here, I was this is going to be a really good opportunity for me to not have to pay rent. Obviously, I don't have a job, to look for a new job and find one and move wherever I want. It's gonna be awesome. But lately I've just been actually, what the fuck do I want to do with my life at all? Literally at all. I'm 26, and every job I've ever had, I liked them. It was not something that I loved doing by any means. My first job that I had was in tech. It was with Amazon, Microsoft type of marketing, and I got laid off. Tech is notorious for layoffs. And then my second one was too. And actually, I didn't get laid off from that. I was just a contract worker, and then my contract came to an end. Both of those jobs, like I said, obviously I'm putting my all into the job that I'm working and trying my hardest, but I don't want to sit behind a fucking desk every day for the rest of my life. That actually sounds like my worst nightmare. And it's so confusing to me because my whole life growing up, like, I like school, I like reading, I like doing assignments, I like having things like that, but I don't like just sitting there and doing it. Does that make sense? Sitting in a cubicle, not for me. Going to an office every day, not for me. And even like, it's not the issue of being remote versus not being remote. It's just like sitting down at a desk every day for the rest of my life for 9 hours actually sounds horrible. And I know that everybody goes through that, but that's what I'm having a really big crisis about right now because like obviously I am applying to jobs and like need money and need a job. And so I for a while was kind of applying for anything so that I could stay in California. But now that I moved here, it's like, why would I get a job that I hate? But what do I want? Like, what do I like? What do I want to do? And so that's been really confusing for me. It's so hard too because obviously there's a huge factor of like, we do live in a capitalistic society. Like I have to work a job to make money to like pay the bills. Not many bills for me right now while I'm living with my parents, but eventually pay the bills. And even when I was in California still, I was applying to like waitressing jobs or jobs at like cafes or retail jobs, things like that. Literally, we're not getting anything because number one, the job market sucks. Number two, my past 4 years of experience has been in corporate America, so it's not like I have direct experience for that. It's not even like I want to do that, but even coming here, I'm like, I would enjoy that more than I would sitting at a desk again. Granted, I wouldn't really make any money, but like I would like it more. And so it's been like, you know, what is more worth it to me? And also like, what do I need to do in order to like survive in this fucking world? So it's just like a lot to think about, and I like really don't know what I'm doing. Well, kind of getting into that, obviously, you're like, well, you're doing social media. And a lot of people are always like, well, don't you make enough money? God, no. God, no. I would not quit a full-time job and do social media unless I made so much more money than I make right now. Obviously, I make some money from social media. But then that's the other side where I'm like, should I, like now that I'm living at home, it's kind of an opportunity for me to do that full-time, at least while I'm looking for something else. Which I am, like, obviously through this, that's what I'm, like, doing. Pretty much my whole life, I've done social media things. When I was in high school, I started this YouTube channel. You can scroll back. I have not deleted, well, I might have deleted a few of the videos, but I have not deleted most of them. You can really scroll back and just doing little vlogs and things with my friends and, like, just having fun. I loved watching YouTubers, and so I was like, why would I not do this myself? And then when I got to college, I kind of fell off of that, but right when I got to college is also when Musical.ly switched to TikTok. Pretty much right when I got to college. When did that happen? Like 2018, 2019? And I got to college in 2017. So early on in my college career, Musical.ly switched to TikTok. I got it like right away, and I had a few videos go viral. I had probably like 10,000 followers on TikTok in 2020, which I thought was so many at the time. I was so excited. Literally just posting videos of myself like in my outfits or my dancing. I wasn't talking to the camera at all. It was just like stuff like that, and not every day. It was like a few times a month, but I loved doing it. Like I thought it was so much fun, and I've always loved social media. I made a few videos during COVID on YouTube, just like playlist videos, things like that, and that was kind of all that I like really came of it. And then I just stopped for a while. I kept posting on TikTok like randomly just outfits and things like that. Again, still not talking to the camera. I want to say 2022 I had probably like 40,000 followers, something like that. Of October 2023, I got laid off from my first job, and I was like, okay, let me start talking to the camera. Like, let me start talking on TikTok. And I was like, let me post, I'm unemployed, let me post at least once a day. And so I started doing that. I got really lucky that my next job was fully remote, pretty much. It wasn't supposed to be, but I didn't go in ever because my boss lived across the country. Why was I going to go in? She had no idea if I was there or not. So I kept doing TikTok during that time. And then once my contract was up, I had started looking for jobs like before my contract was up, since I knew it was probably ending. Didn't get anything, and I knew it was probably going to be a while until I got my next one because it took me 6 months in between my first and my second job. So I decided to like make a little pact with myself. I was like, I'm going to try to post on TikTok 3 times a day. 3 times a day, and like it's going to be talking videos, and I'm going to like try to focus my account. Now it's been April, May, June, July, August, September, 6 months since then. And I pretty much have, like, there's been obviously some days where I didn't post 3 times a day, but I've been really posting a lot on TikTok. I still love posting on TikTok. No one ever knows what's going to happen with that app, though. And they did just extend it, though, to, like, the deadline for the whole thing happening with the Supreme Court extended it to December, so at least we've got until then. But they do keep extending it. That's kind of my TikTok history. Not that anyone cared or asked, but I feel like for a long time when I was working in my other jobs, I was like, well, it's fine because I really like doing social media, but I know that I have to have this other job so that I can pay the bills and then do social media like as a side fun thing. And I feel like I'm at a point where I just don't want to accept that anymore. And like, why do I have to work a job that I don't like and sit at a desk for 9 hours a day? But at the same time, it's like I don't want to be living in my parents' house forever. I do want to find a job. It's so confusing and it's so hard, like, even for me to deal with, like, emotionally, because I'm just always confused what's going on in my brain. I feel like I don't even know what's going on. It's also just not really something that, like, I feel like I talk to my friends about that much. I am never one to, like, share my feelings with people except for on the internet. It's just so much easier for me because I feel like I'm, like, talking to myself rather than talking to, like, an actual person. I think one of the biggest struggles that I have with living with my parents is that it's something that wasn't, like, by my choice. Like, if I had had a choice in the matter, I would not have moved here. I just didn't have money. I was living in San Francisco with my friends, and then our lease was up at the end of the year, and obviously without a job, I can't, like, sign a new lease. Also, without a job, I admittedly have been putting a lot of money on a credit card, and obviously I can't, like, move somewhere, number one, with a bad credit, and number two, with no job. I don't have a bad credit score. It's just not maybe the best it should be. Which also is something can we talk about. Okay, wait. We're going to get into that for a second. Can we, like, normalize literally being in debt in your 20s and not having a job and not having any way to pay for it because it's just so stressful. Mind you, first of all, when I was in high school, I was not very interested in college at all. I knew I wanted to go, but I'm more of, like, a living in the moment person, and I didn't want to think to the future. So I, like, let my mom do a lot of it. She, like, picked schools for me to go look at. Went and looked at them. I was like, sure, let's go to St. Mary's. No one told me that going to a private school was going to give me, like, a lot of student loans. And, like, my family didn't have very much money, so I got, like, Pell Grant and stuff like that. But still, it's a private school. I got a lot of loans. Like, my parents did my FAFSA for me. I should have been more involved and aware, and I wasn't. If you're gonna make me feel bad about that, don't, because imagine how bad I feel now having all this debt. When I got laid off in 2023, I was unemployed for the next 6 months, getting California unemployment, which didn't even cover my rent at the time. So obviously I was putting that on a credit card. Got my next job. It paid a lot less than my first job. And the reason that I was okay with it was because I really wanted to work at that company and thought that my contract would become a full-time role, and it didn't, which, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Lesson learned there. I was making enough money to pay my rent, and that's pretty much it. There are things that I probably could stop spending money on. Honestly, I am gonna die one day, and I would rather have a fun time right now. And that's not everyone's point of view, but you don't have to agree with me, and that's okay. So that's also a big factor in trying to find a job, though. Hey, you do have bills to pay, even though you're not paying rent. Like, you do have bills to pay. But I will say I've been so good about, like, since I'm not paying rent, like, putting the money I would pay to rent to my credit card. I honestly find it kind of annoying sometimes when people are like, well, everyone is on a different life journey. Like, everyone has a different path. Because it's like, yeah, and you're on the path that is, like, societally expected of us, and I'm on the path of, like, what people deem as embarrassing and, like, shameful. You know what I mean? Like, so you can say that, and I'm the one who's like, hey, and I live with my parents at 26, and you have children and a career and a 401k and a Roth IRA, and I don't know what any of that means. So it's a little bit easier for you. And people, oh my god, somebody the other day was like, did you know that Vera Wang didn't start designing dresses until she was 40? And I literally looked at her and I was like, and it's like, I so see where the sentiment is coming from. That does not make me feel better. Like, that actually genuinely made me feel worse. So thank you so much for that. I feel like the whole time I've been here, I am just trying to take it, like, day by day. I've been doing a little 75 soft challenge, which has been awesome. Like, life doesn't stop. Like I said, I just went to my friend's wedding. Next week, I'm going to Portland to see my friend. And then a few weeks later, I'm going to California to go to a different wedding. And so it's like, I do have things going on. I don't think my life sucks or anything like that. I just feel like I have no fucking idea what I'm doing with it, or like where I'm going from here, just what's next for me, which is kind of scary in the grand scheme of things, just because I don't love where I am right now. Like earlier I said, I love living in the moment, but when it's a moment that I don't really want to be living in anymore, it's like, okay, what's next? I mean, I think I would be kind of remiss if I didn't talk about also the job market right now and how it's actually fucking horrible. That is a thing people say all the time, but it actually was like statistically proven that this is the worst the job market has pretty much ever been, and definitely ever been in our lifetimes. So that's pretty awesome. Actually, no one's hiring, and especially not for marketing, babe. Especially not for marketing. The reason that I didn't extend my contract at my last job was because the role that I was doing, they shifted to AI. Oh, okay. What? Which is tough. So that was not awesome for me, but like I said, like that's not even a job I want to do anymore. I don't know. Like my first job that I had out of school, I hated. It was like a marketing agency, and so we did like outreach to people, and it was all tech companies, like I said, like Amazon, Microsoft, things like that. And it was marketing like their cloud solution services, which is just like mumbo jumbo. If you don't know what that is, you don't need to. And like I hated it. It was not very fun. And every time people would be like, how do you want to grow in your role, or how do you want to grow in this company or stuff? Like I've always said I wanted to do something like more creative, or like, oh, can I do something like with messaging or storytelling or like being creative, because that's what I want to do. And that's just like not what I was doing. And so I just didn't enjoy it very much. No shade to like that company, whatever. Both my jobs, I've worked at great companies and I've liked my coworkers. It's just I did not enjoy the role that I was in, which is no one's fault but mine. So I feel like now we need to have a little bit of a positive message in this, even though there's not a lot of positive things I can think of right now. Could be worse. It could always be worse, you know? And not even in, and kind of in a cheesy way, actually. Like, things could be worse. I try to remind myself that every day, that, like, I am so lucky for the things that I have, and, like, I get to live in this house with my family for a little bit, and like with my dog, I love my dog, and like in a beautiful state, Washington's gorgeous, and I get to explore a new area. So although I have this kind of overwhelming feeling of like you need to figure it out quick or your life is going downhill, at the same time it's like, what if it's not? What if something good can come out of this moment? So I'm just trying to be kind of optimistic about the whole thing. I think as somebody who grew up kind of like, how do I phrase this nicely? A bit of a tumultuous childhood. I, like, especially recently have been like, there are so many things in life to be grateful for. And obviously I'm a very like confident, outgoing person, and I love myself a lot. And so that's, oh my God, that is something I was going to talk about. Is that I've never had a boyfriend or girlfriend, a partner, if you will. Maybe we should, like, I've been yapping for a minute, so maybe we shouldn't fully get into that until a next episode. I could really go into that, actually, never having a partner. And now that I live with my parents, it's like, hey, when the fuck is that gonna happen, actually? No time soon. Let's do that. Next episode, let's do that. Because I feel like we need to kind of ease into this. I don't need to talk for a full hour in the first fucking episode of me doing this. We're kind of giving a little bit of background, letting you know that I am so fucking stressed out about my living situation, but trying to make the most of it. And that's all that we can do in these trying times. If you made it this far, actually, you rock. You rock. You're awesome. Thank you so much. It's hard when there's such an expectation of like what your life should look like, and then it's not becoming that. And I think a lot of people that feel that way, especially right out of college, that their life isn't what they thought it was going to be, or it's not looking how they want it to go. And it can be really scary and feel super overwhelming. And it can be really like lonely as well. Like it can make you feel super lonely that, you know, you're not doing even what you expected yourself to do. And that's kind of the point of why I wanted to like make this little series on my channel is so that there is a space, number one, for me to talk about it, but number two, for you guys to kind of like interact with and like tell me about what you're feeling, and just be kind of a space for us to like, hey, shit kind of sucks sometimes and life is hard, and I am 26 and live with my parents, and that sucks, but hey, it's gonna be okay, I guess. If any of you feel like your life is falling apart even a little bit, maybe we can relate and try to figure it out together, or at least have some laughs about it along the way. If you liked this video, maybe give it a thumbs up. If you have any ideas of things that you want me to talk about, please let me know. I'm loving this series already because I could yap for hours. Follow me on TikTok, my main platform. Follow me on Instagram. None of you girls follow me on Instagram, and I love Instagram. Okay, I'm posting stories every day. I don't know what we're gonna call this segment yet, but hopefully by the time I post this, I've figured it out. We're probably gonna do this once a week, so I'll see you in the next one. Bye.